Good evening, everyone. We're here one more time with TV CNB. We're interviewing Khalid Muneer, one of the biggest stars in the political world in Orlando. So we're here today. Good night, Khalid. Thank you so much for joining us. We're very happy to have you.
Thank you so much, Laiz. It's a pleasure always talking to you. I've known you for nearly a decade, and you've been very much a part of the local Orlando scene, and you've been very instrumental in promoting Orlando to the Brazilian community here in Central Florida and also in Brazil.
Thank you
for your service.
All right, so we're here to ask you a few questions, Khalid. One of them, because we know you came from so far away. Since you were little, your journey has been gigantic. And I admire you for that. You came from Pakistan, you went to England, and then you came to the United States. So tell us about yourself and your journey until we brought you to Orlando.
Well, Laiz, it's a long journey, as you mentioned. I was born in Pakistan, and I was 9 years old when my parents moved to Britain. My parents moved to Britain to seek a better life, not just for themselves, but more for their children. So I grew up in Britain from that age, and I went to school and university. I graduated from Birmingham University with a degree in behavioral science. And after that, I joined an international bank because travel was always one of my passions. I wanted to travel to many countries, live in many countries, understand the people, understand the culture, learn languages, and so on. So that particular ambition of mine took me to traveling to 51 countries in the world, including 11 countries where I lived and worked, and I learned over 10 languages, which were very useful to me, which were very helpful in understanding the local culture, the local business practices, etc. So that's where my journey took, and I've been a Central Florida resident for nearly 30 years, and I've thoroughly enjoyed living here in Central Florida. The quality of life, the people, these are all the things that enrich our livings here in Orlando and Central Florida.
So how did you get to Orlando? How was it?
It's a long story. I remember back in 1986 when my son was 15 years old, he wanted to come and visit Disney. At that time, we were living in Dubai. So we brought him over to Orlando to visit Disney and Universal and all the other theme parks at that time. And my wife said, "Oh, it's so nice here in Orlando. I wish we could live here." So 5 years later, in 1991, she got her wish. We were moving from Dubai back to England, and we came to Florida for a couple of weeks holidays before we settled back home. And then my wife said, well, maybe we should move to the States and here in Orlando. And that's exactly what happened. I bought a business. I applied for the green card and citizenship. And here I am 30 years later, still living in our dreamland, Orlando. So my family couldn't be happier than we are today.
So you ended up raising all your family in the United States, even knowing your oldest son was 15 years old. You still have how many kids?
I have 5 children, okay. And 2 of them were born in England, in London, and the other 3 were born here in Daytona Beach. 4 of them, they are Gator kids. They went to University of Florida, and the 5th one went to Stetson before they moved on to do their postgraduate studies.
Unbelievable, beautiful
So
job.
It's been a long journey. It's been a very enjoyable journey. And it is good to see that a lot of your goals that you have in life being achieved here in Central Florida,
That's
which
right.
is a great place to live.
Well, Khalid, the way I see it, you are very compromised with your family. You have big principles, and people admire you not only because of your skills, your cultural luggage, or anything. It's just because your character and how you raise your family and how your kids are well in life today. So it is important, even for someone to be a candidate, a political candidate. That is a big part of it. Because people want to see in power men and women that are well placed in the world. that they know how to raise a family. They know how to, take a life on and do good things. And you are a person like that. We admire you for that. So, on that hand, I know today you are part of the Orlando Economic Partnership. And what is the Orlando Economic Partnership?
Laiz, Orlando Economic Partnership was a merger between Orlando Chamber of Commerce and the old EDC, the Economic Development Committee. So, Economic Development Commission, rather. So they merged about 4 years ago. In order to create this entity, the prime purpose, the main goal is to attract high-paying jobs to Central Florida here, to the 7 counties. And they have been very successful over the years in doing that. Names like KPMG, Neon, the IT place, etc. And they've done a wonderful job over the years. Unfortunately, COVID has hit everybody, so this is just a setback. And even now, there is a talk of 4,000 jobs from Disney, California, coming here to Orlando, Lake Nona, etc. So they've been very instrumental in attracting companies from out of state with incentives from the state, and also using the quality of life and the richness of our area here in Orlando, and the supply of skilled labor. Within 1.5 hours drive of Orlando, you have so many universities with around about 300 students. So these are all the resources that we have available here that we use as an instrumental in attracting companies that are looking for locations which are economical, which have a high quality of life, and at the end of it, which have a high local participation in the product that they are selling.
Okay. In another hand, you have just left for the second time the presidency for the Asian American Chamber of Commerce. What are the countries that are involved in the Asian American Chamber?
Well, Asian American Chamber, the Asia comprises over 40 countries. It has over 4.2 billion population. And here locally, your Asian American community is close to 8% of the population. The Asian American, they own about 15,000 businesses, and on the average, they make a contribution to the local economy, which runs into a couple of $1 billion. So when you talk about Asia, you're talking of a huge area. Now, our Asian American Chamber of Commerce board is just like the United Nations. We have board members who are from Vietnam, Korea, Pakistan. I myself is originally from Pakistan, Philippines, Hawaii. So it comprises of countries which represent Asia. The main purpose of our goal at the Asian American Chamber is to connect Asian American owned businesses with the mainstream businesses and vice versa, to provide the skills and tools needed for Asian American businesses to be successful, to make a major contribution to the local economy here, to promote and educate them in areas like minority certifications, which will help them to get ahead and make a valuable contribution to the local economy.
So, where is it located?
Our Asian American Chamber offices are located in the National Entrepreneur Center in Fashion Square Mall. We are part of 15 other what we call partners, including African American Chamber of Commerce, Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, the Pride Chamber, etc. So we all cooperate in helping each other, in promoting each other's events, etc. So it's a close partnership. National Entrepreneur Center, in turn, is a partnership between private industry, the government, and the educational institution, UCF. So it's a great example of how the three entities, that's the educational institution, the private industry, and the government entity, the Orange County office, government office, they cooperate in order to create and provide the tools environment for small businesses.
Okay.
So
Right, that's great. It's great to know, and great for the people that watches us to understand how it is. Even that with pandemic, we do have organizations in Orlando that are fully functional and thriving and working hard to keep the chamber going. I'm very happy for that.
Thank you.
We're going to go into a little break now. We'll come back.